Wade in the water, wade in the water, children, wade in the water. God want trouble the water.
Welcome back to Living Local Carolina. Today I'm joined by a very, very, very special guest, Queen Quet. How are you doing?
I'm glad for day I to do well. How wanted to do, Katie?
I'm doing so well. And you know that we have a lot to talk about, but I first want to bring attention to the fact that you were made the first elected chiefess and head of state for the Gullah Geechee Nation almost exactly 23 years ago, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. You got that right. July 2nd, 2000 at Sullivan's Island, South Kakalaki.
So, I mean, every year when that date rolls around, is it kind of surreal for you? I mean, what are some of the emotions you feel on that day?
You picked the correct word, surreal. Even though that doesn't exist in Gullah, we would say great God Galia Timya. There's so many different things because basically when midnight rolls in, I don't feel like I ever sleep through a midnight between July 1st and July 2nd anymore. It feels like as soon as it rolls in, I feel like I'm in that same preparation mode again that I was back in 2000, because even then it felt like, is this really going to happen? Or, oh, maybe I'm in a dream, and I'm going to wake up and none of this was really real for the past year that these people have been voting. Oh, well, let's see when I get there what's going to really happen. Because as I always say to people could have showed up in support or they could have burned my body in effigy. That was why it was a public event. The world was invited so that no one, especially the U.S. government, couldn't come back and say they weren't aware of what took place. So fast forwarding 2 decades later, you sit back and you reflect because it becomes like, okay, this did really happen. This is the work I've been doing now consistently every day for 23 years. Normally I try to take that time to pray and meditate and reflect and see what's going very well. And thankfully in 23 years, things have gone very well. But also to look at some things that are taxing. So I could sit back like, how when you were a little girl and you on the teeter-totter, you're on one side, up and then down and up and then down. And I just spent that day just really sitting back and reflecting on all of it, but at the same time giving thanks to say, well, God must have had me in this position to have the wherewithal to do this.
Tell me what you've been working on lately. I mean, you mentioned a little bit before, but what do you want people to know right now?
My big thing is to invite everybody to my home island that you mentioned, St. Helena Island, this month. On Saturday, July 29th, we'll be launching once again Gullah Geechee Nation Appreciation Week with Gullah Geechee Famlee Day. This year, for the first time, we're hosting Gullah Geechee Famlee Day at the Penn Center National Landmark Historic District, which is also the site of our Reconstruction Era National Historic Park. So we going to have a good time. You can find my happy place for true kitty if you want to come down, bring some dancing shoes. Okay, so make sure you bring shoes you can dance in on that day because we're going to have a huge celebration over our victory here in St. Helena, but just keeping our culture alive too. So folks can go to Eventbrite. We can get the passes in advance. That way you can get all the updates and the details and all the goodies that we're going to be, putting out there for folks. But definitely come celebrate with us. And then we will celebrate throughout one whole week, all up and down this coast. And so that's what I'm working on now, like I do every year. So I get to extend my anniversary every year. I tell them it's not over until after Gullah Geechee Nation Appreciation Week. So I get to have some fun.